All right, chapter 8. It's super important that you students understand atomic structure, the periodic table, the bond types, so you can describe the chemical composition of substances by using formulas and accurate names. In this section, in this chapter, we're going to be covering this concept called nomenclature, and all it means is how to name something correctly. The nomenclature introduced here will be used throughout the rest of this course, so understanding it here now makes it important for later. What I want you to do is learn the polyatomic ions on page 199. I want you to understand them very well. Come back to them a lot. You'll be seeing these over and over again for the rest of the year. Chemical equations, that is introduced briefly in chapter 2, is going to be again reinvestigated in sections 8C and 8D. I want you to be able to balance chemical equations. This is a skill that you're going to be needing throughout the course, and it's critical to learn how to accurately balance these equations. This is leading up to a chapter where we're going to, or to a section where we're going to be studying what we call stoichiometry. And a lot of students have a lot of trouble with stoichiometry. And this is kind of like how I talked about mathematics being the building blocks to chemistry. These are also additional building blocks and cubes that we're going to be giving you to help you understand later how chemistry is all put together. Let's see, we're going to talk about oxidation numbers and nomenclature. Nomenclature can be really hairy and dicey. I would recommend having these tables printed up on your wall and just having it to be able to come back as a good reference. There are very few cases where I'm going to ask you to memorize these huge tables and huge lists of things, but rather I would rather have it as just something you know where to go and look up and look at often. I don't think that there's rarely a case where I'm giving you like a closed book test. And I don't think we do that much in college when we have our students learn chemistry things. There might be a few things where we have them memorize everything. But it's very rare that we give you guys a closed book test. So we're always having you guys be able to reference all of this information. You just have to know how to use that reference and how to be able to come back to it and understand how it applies. Now, truth be told, if you do the homework and you do this enough, my goal here is probably to make you do so many of these that you will start memorizing a lot of these quantities. Again, I'm not requiring it, but it's kind of like if you use the quadratic equation on 1,000 problems, I guarantee you that you're not going to have to look up, oh wait, what is it? It's negative b plus or minus what again? Square root of b squared minus 4ac all over what? 2a. When you're doing problem 1000, you're not going to have to be looking at it that much. You'll probably just have it down packed. Don't be scared. I'm not going to be giving you 1,000 problems to do. Maybe I might. I don't know. But what I want you to do is, as you do more and more of these things, you're going to get more and more used to some of the equations like bromate or iodate or nitrate. And you know that, wait a second, that's NO3 negative. And you'll be able to kind of regurgitate some of that information just because you're handling it so much. We're going to be doing some formal lab write-ups and formal labs with this one. We're talking about mole ratios and double replacement reactions. So those are two labs that we're going to be covering in this chapter, which should be a lot of fun. For the next, let's see, 1, 2, 3. For the next, almost the rest of the chapters, minus one of them, we're going to be doing a lab that's kind of associated with the different chapters. We started off where in the first 5 chapters, we only did one chapter where we had a formal lab. Now in the next 11 chapters, we're only going to do one where we don't have a formal lab tied to that chapter. And in some chapters, we're going to have 2 or even 3 formal labs that goes with that chapter and understanding that chapter.